outskirts of Milan at a top secret, brand spanking new tyre testing facility. So we got an invite to go inside, check it out, and you beautiful people are coming with us. Let's go. On this trail, on these roads, champions are made, records are broken, and limits are redefined. The secret to victory doesn't start at the finish line, it starts here. This is where rubber meets science, where the pursuit for speed isn't just a goal, it's an obsession. For the first time ever, we step inside a place that has remained a mystery to the outside world. Welcome to Vittoria Tyres.
Hey Blake, good to see you. How are you, man?
Very good, thank you very much.
Welcome to the Vittoria headquarters.
Thank you, thank you. To turn sap from rubber trees into race-winning mountain bike tyres is no mean feat. Testing is a crucial part to this process, and that's what's led to creating this place. This is Vittoria Labs, Vittoria's cutting-edge research and development. This facility opened up late last year, and this is the first time anyone's had access to behind the scenes. Inside there's 10 different testing machines capable of doing multiple tests on all aspects of tyre development. Not only do Vittoria have this unique R&D facility, next door is Vittoria Park. In the park where they can test the tyres in a controlled, repeatable environment. By having telemetry fitted to their bikes, they can correlate all of that data and put it onto the machines in the lab, and that helps with tyre development. As if that's not enough, they work alongside with teams in their factories and test labs in Thailand, as well as their American offices in Bentonville. Why Thailand, you ask? Well, Thailand is the world's leading producer of rubber, and they're experts when it comes to producing and using it. With over 1,000 employees worldwide helping produce over 7 million tyres a year, things can get complicated quickly, and Vittoria has that covered. In their 70-year history, Vittoria have refined the process in developing new tyres, and they've broken this process down into 4 steps: feasibility, development, industrialization, and mass production. Feasibility is the first step, and this is where the engineers and designers come up with the concept of a new tyre. Using rider feedback, test data, and market research, they can work out requirements for their new tyre and see if what they want to achieve is possible. Once the concept of the tyre is ready, then it's time for it to move on to the development stage. This is where the labs and park come together to give engineers a way to perform controlled, repeatable tests. Vittoria team riders and research partners give their feedback from real-world testing too. When the tyre's gone through this stage, it's on to industrialization. It's at this point they can turn their attention to how a tyre can be made efficiently and accurately at scale. You could create the best tyre in the world, but if it's impossible to make consistently, it's useless. Once the engineers have dialed in the production process, this is where it moves on to mass production, the final stage, and where we can get our grubby mitts on them. Now, Vittoria is adamant to keep this top secret, but they've given us access to some of their testing, which I'm really excited about because I want to see what that one's all about.
Here we have a total of 10 machines. 9 of them have been totally ideated and designed by us, and of course developed together with our partners. This is a unique place actually in the cycling industry.
Before we dive into this machine, because it's incredible, I've spotted that each one of these machines have got a different name. You got Mary, Nicola. What is this all about?
Well, actually, we wanted to strengthen the relationship between human and the machine, and actually we want to learn by using the machine. So it's a kind of human learning from the machine. Each one of these machines got the inspiration from the most important scientists or Nobel Prizes of the past 2 centuries. For instance, here Gottlieb is Daimler, one of the father of the modern automotive. So that machine, for instance, is the machine for wear testing of our tires. With this machine, we can replicate any outdoor track. For instance, here we can replicate stage of the Tour, for instance, or our gravel track in the Vittoria Park, or our tarmac track at the Vittoria Park by means of the telemetry, and we can replicate every kind of input that the tire receives in the real conditions in the machine.
So even with the camber and how the tire deforms,
with the spindle torque, as well as with the braking power.
Yeah.
So we can replicate, we can run thousands of kilometers in fully controlled conditions in a repeatable way. And let me say, measure wear progression as well as the wear life of our tires.
When it comes to mountain biking, impact is super key, and this machine is all about impact absorption. This is your airliner. Now explain the testing that goes on with this.
Okay. In this machine we can perform drop test. But the key feature of this machine is that we can also measure the absorbed energy. So in Vittoria we think that the system tires plus insert is very important.
Yeah.
That's the reason why also we developed this machine, to optimize the synergy between tire and insert.
Okay.
What you have on hand now is the new Airliner Protect Enduro. So with this T-shape to give good lateral stability and also to avoid bidon seating. Key feature of the insert is also that if you compare any impact with insert and without insert, so only air inside the tire, the impact with the insert is more progressive. So it's like to have an additional suspension inside the tire.
Wow. This one over here, I mean, look at this one, because this one's got a huge wheel on a wheel. Rolling resistance.
This machine is specifically designed for mountain bike. Measuring the rolling resistance in mountain bike is quite hard,
it is very
as you know.
hard. Yeah.
So we developed this machine to avoid any kind of vibration given by the knob and the mountain bike tires. So we can measure reliable data, the rolling resistance of mountain bike tires.
Perfect. And you got a peyote on there, which is actually getting installed to my bike. And this was developed by you guys?
Yes.
So this is a one-off machine.
Exactly.
Wow. Now, the reason why we're not showing you the whole machine is because it is super top secret and they don't want to give away all the secrets. I think I'm going to be leaving this building with a red light flash to erase my memory. Now, all the testing that Vittoria do is done in their labs. Now, running alongside all 10 machines that they have out here in Italy, out in Thailand, they have 15 different tire testing machines. And that's not including the machines that test different materials and compounds, which help develop their new 4C compound construction, as well as their graphene casing, which is in this tire. Each one of these machines can be set up from BMX to road to downhill to get the best test results out of their tires. Whilst they can test a lot of things in the lab, rider input is key. That's why Vittoria created Vittoria Park. Now, this is no ordinary bike park. Vittoria make a lot of tires for a lot of types of bike. This park has different terrains and conditions designed into it to test their tires. From tarmac to cobbled road sections to mimic iconic world tour road racing, to pump tracks, jumps and rock gardens. There's a lot of opportunities here to put tires through their paces. They even went to great lengths to design a sprinkler system for repeatable wet conditions. As well as subjective feedback from riders, Vittoria gather objective data from test rides from their telemetry system. Now, their telemetry system can gather data like trajectory, speed, acceleration, and more. They can unpack that data in the lab and they can compare it with their machine testing results. They can also break down on where the performance is achieved. The speed measured outdoor on an off-road track in the park is the result of rolling performance, grip, riding comfort, puncture resistance. These are all single characteristics that they can scientifically quantify indoors at the lab. Using their testing algorithms, they can correlate the results to make sure that development is on track. And they're the only tire manufacturer in the world to add real-world testing to lab testing in this way. Today, I'm going to be the test dummy and to see how it works in practice. So Inja's just added some new fresh rubber to my bike. We've got mixed tires on this bike. So we've got a Mascal on the front and we've got a Peyote on the rear. This is your new tire, right?
Yes.
What are they designed for?
Mascal is a tread design already well known in our range, because this tread design we have in our range for some years already. But we changed construction and compound. We launched this tire in this setup last year, size 29 2.4, XC race construction, so developed with our cross-country sponsored team. This tire is intended for mixed terrain. Peyote is our brand new tire, so developed for more dry condition compared to mezcal, to give you less rolling resistance, so to be faster in races.
So the tests we're going to be doing today will be this setup with no insert, with no airliner.
Exactly.
And then the second one will be with an airliner. And then the last one would be a run flat. So where you have a puncture, for example, and you have to get home. So what is the range distance to run on a airliner?
You can ride in run flat condition, so no air inside the tire, for 25 kilometers.
That's pretty good going, isn't it? Just to get you home.
Yeah, obviously not going full gas.
Yeah, run with caution. But the idea of running an airliner is to prolong your rim. So in case of a huge impact, it will
absolutely
protect your rim, keep you going. You can run lower tire pressures, which we are going to go to the extreme and have a puncture. Now in the lab, they do have a telemetry setup rig, which is over there. But today we're using my bike and we've put this little box on. It's a telemetry box. Now talk us through what kind of data we're going to capture from this.
Okay. This is a sort of portable telemetry where we can mount on every bike, field testing with some teams outside Vittoria. With this small box, we can measure vibration absorbed by the frame, so the vibration transmitted from the ground to the rider. And we can also connect this to our sensor. We have, for example, in this case, power pedals. We can analyze also power to see the rolling resistance of our tire in different condition, real condition at torque.
Which we're going to do today, hopefully. I'll come back with some data and we can examine it and break it down. So I got Vittoria Park all to myself today. And we've got the bike set up with no airliners. So we're going to do some laps with this, get some data, head back in, put some airliners in, and then come back out. Right, where do I start? Should I head up that way? Yeah? The side grip on the Peyote is amazing. Super fast rolling. We're on the cyclocross course and it runs super quick. I'm running 25 psi, 23 psi on the rear. Oh, the climbs, that's a punchy one. Wow, that was incredibly fun. Let's head back into the lab and get these airliners installed. Right, airliners installed. Let's go and do some casing. Got some root garden coming up. Nay, bad pal. Nice, well there. Running the airliner, like I've explained, is you can run a lower tire pressure than normal to get more grip, but more compliance, making it a little bit more comfortable, taking the shock out of the terrain through the bike. Oh, look at that, big drop. Oh yes, well, this is where rolling resistance is crucial. And there's not much difference in with having an airliner. 55 grams. It'd be rude not to hit some jumps. Come on. Oh, that was a big one. Nice. Woo-wee. Man, what a place to ride. What a great test facility for repeatable experiments, which is incredible. Now, I've ridden it with the airliners put in. Lower the tire pressure, obviously, because I've got more protection, more compliance as well. I've been messing around in the rock garden behind me, and actually runs really well. So it's a win-win with airliners. But what happens when you have a puncture? Oops! I'm going to run the tire pressure on nearly 0 psi and see what it's like and how much drag we can get out of it. Especially with the telemetry box put on here, it'll actually calculate how much drag, how slow, and all of that, and how much, you know, shock comes through the bike. And that, my friends, that is dead. But one thing that's quite concerning when you're on a flat is when you debead the tire and you lose all your sealant. With this, the airliner is kind of securing it in there, which is great. Oh. You got a root garden, obviously right conservatively. I got a puncture at the end of the day. It's all right. I know I got a puncture, but rolling resistance is all right. Perfect for Schwalpin. Watch this. Oh, incredible. There's no concern for a debead in the tire. And there we have it. We have a puncture scenario. We've given it the airliner test, non-airliner test. We've done about 10 kilometers, riding all different types of terrain. So bring in the data into this. Let's head back into the lab and let's talk all about the data. Come on in, I got a puncture. Right, Inge, here we go. Data collected.
Here we see the export data of this telemetry box, where we can see briefly the GPS signal, so you can see maybe better the track you did, in this case at the Vittoria Park. Then here we can analyze all the data like elevation gain, speed, acceleration measured by this box on the frame, the power data, and the cadence.
Okay, so this one here is the acceleration.
Yes.
This amber one here. So this is where, and this is measured in G's?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. And then you see here this peak of acceleration because, as you can see in the GPS, here you pass into the pave section. In order to compare two different tests, but on the same track, we can do in advance the coordinates we want to analyze. Okay. And then we can, in this way, have the same comparison of the same track between two different products.
Because you'll have a data point there, a data point there. You run multiple passes through it as a segment to get multiple different types of data. And if I was to ride now your telemetry bike, your setup, that's got suspension telemetry, so explain that. Why would you want to know suspension?
We have another interfaces here where we can analyze the suspension data, but also we have additional sensor developed for us where we can see tire pressure, we can see the acceleration measured by the wheel hub, and all these kind of parameters.
Wow, okay. Inge, tell us a bit more about the improvements with an airliner versus a non-airliner.
Okay, for sure, the airliner gives you a lot of advantages in riding, in this case, cross-country, because in terms of comfort, you have an advantage. Also in impact resistance, for example, we measure indoor, which advantage does the insert to you. So the impact resistance tire mounted with this airliner gives you 30% impact resistance more compared to a tire without airliner.
Oh, wow.
Only air.
Wow, and you said you did it with the Mezcal?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
This setup you have in the front, so Mezcal with airliner XC.
So I've got 30% more impact resistance with the airliner, which is a no-brainer when it comes to riding kind of demanding terrain.
Exactly. If you do normally without airliner 1 jump, 2 meter jump, you can do 2.6 meter jump without having a puncture.
And go through a rock garden or a root garden
Without think about your rims.
without thinking about the rims. My poor carbon rims. Brilliant. Let us know in the comments down below what factories or facilities you would like us to visit. Thank you very much for watching. It's time for a cup of tea.
No, Blake.
Oh,
Non facciamo così di solito.
mi
Espresso.
scusa. Mi scusa. Grazie mille. Inch. Salute. Grazie. Oh, perfetto.
Great.